I literally just got off the track. So the weather's kind of crappy. I know you guys think it's nice out, and it is, but the track picks up a lot, and I think they got to put some stone dust on the track. They're going to get to do that, but what happens is the track has a little bit of moisture in it, and then when it creeps up above zero, it comes up and really turns muddy really quick. That's why I am a little concerned. I don't think we're going to be able to drone on Saturday. I hope we will. It's supposed to rain all this afternoon, all tonight, all tomorrow morning, then be nice Friday, and then freeze Friday night, and then creep up around zero on Saturday morning sometime. It was good 8, 9 o'clock, 9:30 it started to pick up, 10. I get off the track at 11, just after 11, with our 42nd horse. It was cool today. We went like sets in 8 and 9. All the horses were great. It was really incredible. But by that time, it was really muddy. So we'll play it by ear. As of now, we're tentatively say that we are droning Saturday, but it's unlikely. I would say it's less than a coin flip. Whether the percentage is less than a coin flip that we'll be able to go, but nevertheless, in understanding that Christmas was coming and everything that's going on with me, and we knew that this was going to be a taxing week. We try to give the horses a little rest at this point, give them one good push before we go easy on them for the holidays, and go from there. And this week I spent a lot of time training a lot of horses. I thought it was pretty cool when I got to showcase the horses on a one-on-one basis, but a lot of these horses look so much better in group settings that it's great when we're trying to sell the shares and tell everybody, hey, we got shares to sell in this horse. Go and buy them or go and look at them and, have a second look or a first look, which works out good. But at the same time, we do want the horses to learn. We went with some horses today I thought looked incredible. And I trained some horses this week that I thought looked really, really good. So I'm going to through all of them now. In some cases, the horses didn't get a chance to train this week. Again, remember, we're trying to get them over the virus, keep them over the virus. So any of those horses that were sick a little bit, one comes to mind, Beach Bum BB. She was sick for about a week. We really just geared her right down to a very light jog. And the horses, it worked. And you and I've talked to everybody about this, how we're trying to change the way we deal with viruses and sickness and vaccinations and treating the horses here this year. I wanted to make some significant changes. I thought it was important, and we did. A horse that really, 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 really shocked me, the Ohio filly, Globetrotting. Oh, man. She was sick for about 2 weeks. Just couldn't get over something, and we went easy on her, we changed her medication, got her cleaned up, and then we gave her a few shots of X-Stem. Now, X-Stem is, I don't exactly know what X-Stem is. Don't bother Googling it and send me a thing, please. I don't have time to read it. But X-Stem is supposed to be immune stimulant, immune booster. Now, the problem with that is if you ask any doctor or nurse, there's no such thing as an immune system booster, so to speak, but that's what it's sold as, and people have had a lot of luck with it. I have not had a lot of luck with it in the past with our horses, but then again, we were training them in different ways. I think it's very important to let them get over it, then hit them with the X-Stem, and then watch them closely. Globetrotting today didn't have an ounce of mucus in her nose, completely healthy, and she looked absolutely incredible this morning. Very, very happy with Globetrotting. This is a filly I had high hopes for from day one. I've been very sheepish and standoffish because I knew she would need that time. And you just don't know how they're going to go over those hurdles. We went through this last year. Some horses did well at the start and excelled all along. Then you have horses like See You in Tuscany and Twinsburg that showed up out of nowhere at the summertime when it was time to qualify and start racing. You have other horses that looked good, and really we gave them time and they just needed more. Horse like Autumn Wings, she's still here. And a nice filly, but she just kept needing a little more time. We kept giving it to her. Now we're getting into January of her first part of her 3-year-old season, and she's never had a parimutuel start, which is fine. That's completely fine. There's no need or reason to force these horses into positions they're uncomfortable in. If they're not ready to go, they just aren't going to go, and that's that. So, I'm going to give you a little rundown how my week was, the horses I went with, how I saw these horses. I'll tell you the ones that didn't train, the ones that are getting over the virus, and that's fine, especially after watching Globetrotting today, seeing how she's handling this weather, see how her health looks, how bright she looks, and how good she feels. We're on the right track, and I think we're doing the right thing. So, without further ado, I'll run through. Ale Sun trained this morning. Now, we didn't train today because it's Thursday. There is a chance we'll train on Saturday. So what we did was we went in these massive groups. We kept moving the horses, moving them, sprinting them along and stopping them. Exactly what we like to do throughout the winter to get them used to that stopping and starting, that comfort level in a group setting. So that's what we did today. You could say they worked hard enough to say they trained today, but all these horses have trained, and I can tell you they're all doing as much work or more than anybody around as usual, and look good doing it. So, Ailsun looked awesome. Steve Labonte woman, she's a beautiful filly. Knuckling over a bit. I think she's due to be shod behind, new shoes on behind. When her toes start to get a little long, she knuckles over. Now, knuckling over would be stumbling. You'll see them stumble. And this filly will stumble a little bit. So, Ailsun looked incredible this morning. Anteros, I trained him yesterday. I trained him in 241 yesterday. He's a horse that doesn't train awesome by himself, which is good. I like to see him reserved, and he switches. When you get him in a group setting, I gotta have a hood on him and keep him quiet because he can get a little grabby, go with him by himself, and he just kind of saunters along. That's what we want to see. Anteros was fantastic yesterday. A good mile for him. Arctic Force went this morning. Now, we were going to geld Arctic Force. I sent an email out. We're going to geld Arctic Force. And people are like, yeah, whatever, go ahead. Or, geez, how come? Or, is there something wrong? And there was nothing wrong. Danny had just told me, sorry about that. Danny had just told me he was wondering if we could geld them. I came in 2 days later. I lined up the castration. He said, no. Actually, can we wait? He said he was awesome this morning. He was awesome. I said, okay, fine. I didn't go with him today. Danny went with him. I asked him after. He said he's really good. You know, he really paces along nice. He understands it now. If you watched him in the open house, he was shying away from everything and very timid. Now he's right up on somebody's back today. You move him, he sprints forward. He just looked really, really good today. Very happy with the Arctic Force. Now, a horse a lot of people have asked me about is Beach Boutique. They said, hey, Beach Boutique didn't look that good in the open house. No, she didn't. She was bouncing around, and I'd mentioned it on air that she was just being goofy, you know, being a filly. She was acting up and throwing herself and bouncing around. We changed her equipment a little bit. I trained her out here in 241 the other day, and all by herself, and she could have went around. She felt like she'd go around 5 more times. She is really strong. And one thing I had about her sister, we had her full sister dancing on my own, who's qualifying today. She was awesome last week, but training her down, she was very lazy. Very lazy, some days lethargic, and didn't make it to the races. We turned her out, brought her back. She looked infinitely better and is trained back good and looked good schooling last week. This sister, she's not lazy. She's the opposite. She's not hot, but she's racy, and that's good. She's a good-looking, strong, long filly, and really happy with what I saw from her this week. Just a complete 180 from what you saw at the open house last week. Beach Bum BB, we talked about her. She's getting over the virus. We got her right in the middle of that program we were putting them on where you just go easy, change their antibiotics until they clean up, give them a couple of days, put them on X-Stem, give them another few days, and then start pushing. So even if we school Saturday, it's unlikely you'll see Beach Bum BB. That's fine. Beach Bum BB is very timid. I do want to get her in those group settings, though, because she is a very timid filly. Fast. She's got a high-end turn of foot, and I really like her. So I really want to get to training her. We got to get her healthy first. So Beach Bum BB just kind of in neutral right now, coasting along. Bend Over, I had a lot of people ask me about Bend Over. He's a project right now. Bend Over, his attitude's better. And he had a bad attitude last week, 3 weeks ago, running and galloping, and I told you I was taking him down to my section to go with him. I didn't. I left him up with Kirby, and I kept going with him. Very happy with what I saw from at least the attitude transformation from Bend Over. Still making the odd break. He's learning how to trot. So I'll explain to you like this. He paddles out. So some trotters will trot over straight. Some will kind of come in a little bit. Those are the ones that come close to the knees. And some horses paddle out. And he paddles out in both his front, which puts a little stress on his knees. Now, the problem with paddling out is when you put the hobbles on them, it's hard for them to learn how to go in the hobbles. And when you want a trotter to trot, first thing you do is put weight on. When you put weight on a trotter that paddles in a set of hobbles, they just get tired. Then they get angry. So we took all the weight back off of him, left the hobbles at a nice length. I saw him trotting yesterday. He's trotting good. Should have probably had him in that big group setting today, but didn't. So he'll be, he's ready to go. He's healthy. He's healthy. We're just going to keep working on him. I would say by mid-January, I would suspect we'll be able to train him in 240 range and get him caught up to the other horses. Just going to take a little time, but attitude is a big thing, and his is come around perfectly. Exactly what I want to see. So I'm very, very happy with what I've seen from Bend over the last, excuse me, the last week. Bend over has looked good. Bottle of Red. Ooh. You can always tell her, I get her mixed up with the other fillies, except she has earplugs in her ears. She can get a little warm. Not warm like King of the Ball was last year, but just aggressive and racy. She looked good this morning. She was in with a good set of fillies, and they kept moving her and moving her. She looks awesome. Doesn't wear any poles or boots or anything like that, and she won't need to. She paces perfectly clean. So very, very happy with Bottle of Red, and have been. Here's a filly that flies under everybody's radar. Nobody talks about her. Nobody pays attention to her. New York bred filly, well-bred filly, and she can dance. She can go. So just keep it. And these are horses I don't have to tell you about. You're going to see them soon enough. These are the horses where I get emails saying, where'd that horse come from? Or, geez, that horse looked incredible today. Well, she's looked good for a while. We just haven't really cut her loose, and we're about to now. She trained this week. She looked good in the slower set today, and I suspect if we don't drone her on Saturday, she will look great. The horse, also another New York horse. I wouldn't say flying under the radar because people have been buying his shares up the last few weeks, as they should, is Brushcut. Here's a well-bred, good-looking colt by Heston Blue Chip out of his sister to lather up, and he is a big, strong boy. I trained him out here by himself in 239 or 240. Very, very easy, too. You couldn't do it more effortless than he does it. He's a nice colt, and I'm very happy with him. Cabernet, she went in the group setting today. Only dig about Cabernet, I thought she was a little underweight, a little light. I told the guys, you know, if she's eating that good, maybe start mashing her. So giving her a bigger lunch with a bran mash, something then stick to her a little bit more, and, you know, make sure she gets a little more hay. She's a big growing girl. She's like a February, March foal, I think, and I think she's going through a growth spurt right now. So she's getting taller and taller, starting to thin out a little bit, and we keep an eye on this stuff too. You're going to see her put on some weight over the next month. She looks great right now, but she's really going to look great over the next month when she starts putting that weight on. Another filly that accelerates in the straightaways and the turns, doesn't wear any poles or boots, and doesn't look like she will either. Cabernet, very happy with her. Canadian Titan. So the last few weeks, she was making breaks. We had the hobbles on her for a week. She looked okay in the open house, but she looks better and better and better and better and better. This is the filly that I bought. I thought I bought. I was a little concerned when you break them and they're making breaks and they're knuckling over. You're like, Jesus, you know you'll get there, but you know, you wait and wait until you see it, and I start to see it now. She's starting to polish up really nice. She was trotting great out on the track today. No hobbles, no boots, set of bandages behind, and trotting very, very nice. But she had her ears up, which is good. Sometimes they get a little frustrated also, right? They're trying to do the work that you're asking them to do, and for whatever reason they can't. It's frustrating for them, and it's great to see this filly's attitude coming good, and it's great to see her trotting good. So Canadian Titan in the sets today look good, moving and moving and moving with the horses, very comfortable on the track and happy to do her work. Now, a horse you guys haven't seen yet is Capistrano. This, I don't want to get these wrong. I don't know which one's which. We had 3 horses come in. We had a War We Needy, a He's Watching colt come in, and another horse named Gold Watch came in. Now, I believe Gold Watch is the colt. That means Capistrano is the War We Needy. This is a War We Needy filly out of his sister to Mr. Feelgood. All she does is pace on the track. We haven't done much with her yet other than jog her. She hasn't trained or anything. She's behind everybody else. She just came in 2 days or 3 days before the open house. But she's ready to get the hobbles on and start going. And she looked awesome on the track today, jogging. But no point in talking about her until you get to see her in a training situation. But this is a filly I like. One, you always like when the horses go up and pace right away, but you like when they get their ears up. This is a big, strong filly. If any of you guys watched War We Needy race, you'll know what I mean. He was a bull. He was really, really bully. Hard to drive and control sometimes, but fast. Took a mark of 146.4, I believe, and just a really, really nice horse. And this is a War We Needy. I believe Capistrano is the War We Needy filly. If it is, I really like her. Cheatin' Dixie. Cheatin' Dixie was good this week. She didn't go in the sets. We changed her shoes. She was starting to look a little uncomfortable in her knees. Now, keep in mind, I've had a number of these breeds, so you know the holes, and you see them in all of them. The real, like the we will sees, you know, they look a little rough around the edges until they just need a little extra polishing. And then you look at the Dewey, Cheatham, and Howes, their knees bother them quite a bit throughout the winter. So when you get to a point where they start to look a little sore, back off, poultice their knees up, start working on their knees, paint, poultice, change their shoes to a set of flip-flops. We'll start training her again in about a week. No concerns, no red flags, just, there's, obviously, you'll see stages of this where you see the horses get on a line and get off a little bit. This is why we train them like this. And I keep telling people, I believe in the method we train them in simply because we get to see issues that people might see later on. And I don't think we're working them too hard, but it gives us an opportunity to see where their comfort level is and what issues they have. Treat the issues, pay attention to the comfort level. That's why the horses get to the races. I truly believe that's why we have such a high rate of horses getting to the races and such a very low rate of horses getting injured in significant manners, is because we pay attention. We push them up to a point, we can get to see where their faults are, where their issues are, where their weaknesses are, and then we back off, be cognitive of those issues there, push them when we can, back off when we have to, and it works out really well in the long run. If you just pretend the issues aren't there and just back off and wait and then push out of the blue, you might end up with a fracture or something significant that could be really career altering for these horses, and this is why we train them the way we do. So Cheat and Dixie just backed her off a week, changed her shoes, no concerns at all. I knew this was going to happen. These are Dewey, Cheatham, and Howes. Their knees bother them. They aren't the only ones. The Better's Delight's knees bother them too. We have to be very aware and cognitive of those changes as they come in. Just 1 second. What's up?
Still high. 9.9 point something.
I just put her on antibiotics and don't school her then today.
What's RDW?
It's just one of the breakdowns of the red blood cells. Not what. Who knows? The only one I want to see is red blood count, white blood count. So yeah, we'll just maybe put her on sulfa. Yeah. What's that? Yeah. It's not important anyway. All right. So there you go. Fresh off the, well, you're not going to know anyway. Linnea, she schooled mediocre last week, and Harry was just bringing me the blood work of her. I'm right in the barn, front of the barn here of Jason and Harry's. I get done early today before them, so I come down to do this video in a different place, and I wanted to talk to Harry and Kevin and Jason. We got a lot of horses to qualify today, and Linnea will not be schooling today. Her weight count's still a little bit high, so that means no going to the track today. Anyway, where was I? Cheat and Dixie. All done with Cheat and Dixie. Cheat and Dixie, gonna get a week of just light jogging, maybe 2 weeks, and then she can go back training, which is fine. Classic Con, we gelded Classic Con. He had the week off. He'll start back. He started back jogging a few days ago, but he wasn't going to train, and he won't be in any sets on Saturday. Probably just gonna wait a week, which is the good thing about this is he looks awesome right now. He can take a week, so it's not a big deal. So Classic Con looked fantastic all week, has looked great leading up to the weekend, and he'll probably not be in a set on Saturday, but we'll see. Maybe he will. I haven't seen how he's healed up in there, so you don't want to be training him when there's a cut there still and there's mud, and so jogging him's bad enough. You wash it, there's no problem with washing it, but I think maybe a set on training him on Saturday might be a little unnecessary. So Classic Con will get a week. Classy Will went in a set today, looked good. Mark Isabel, he doesn't speak very good English, and he's jogging him. He gets a little grabby when they're going slow. I said, just coast up in behind somebody, give him his head and let him coast up in behind whoever, and he'll drop the bit and behave. That's what we're trying to teach them to do. You know, we don't want those horses bullying and pulling and lugging when they just have to relax. So what we do is let them coast over in behind the horses, and then, you know, they get a chance to sit behind the horse and relax. Move, sit, move, sit. Teach them from every aspect of racing, right from when they're going slow to right when they actually get the qualifying race. So that's a big deal here. It's something we do, and we take it very seriously. So Classy Will looked good this morning also. Compass Rose DC. Danny went with Compass Rose DC and looked good going with him. What's up?
I'm gonna be there warming up our horse, so
Okay.
we're gonna have that
Okay. All right. Don't really think I need to know that, but whatever. Anyway, Compass Rose DC looked great today. Danny went with her, and he'd never gone with her in quite a while, maybe ever. And I said, "And what do you think?" He said, "Gee, she trots really nice. She's a little timid. This is another filly. We got to get her up in behind horses because she's going to get out of gear. She's going to get up behind horses and look around and not pay attention to her work. So it's very important that horses like her, constant repetition, constantly in sets. She'll get it. Trots beautifully, though. I've always liked this filly, Compass Rose DC. You know, for an affordable and inexpensive Ohio-bred trotting filly, I really, really like Compass Rose DC and have for quite a while. Crazy Mission didn't go today. A little bit of regression from both him and, I wouldn't say regression, him and Bend Over. I trained Crazy Mission here 3 weeks ago faster than anybody had gone, but now he picks away at himself. So it's just a matter of getting them that confidence level with him and Bend Over where they can accelerate, decelerate, not interfere with themselves, not hit themselves, not get out of gear, just work. And it's going to take a little time. I'm not concerned with Crazy Mission. I know everybody wants to see, I know you all want to see your horses be good from day one and just get better and better and better and faster and win stake races. It doesn't work that way all the time. And this is why, again, this is another reason we train the way we do. You get to see everything. You're going to see them in their peaks and their valleys. And both Bend Over and Crazy Mission have found themselves into a little valley, but they'll work themselves out of it. They both got good attitudes right now. They both got their ears up on the track and both happy to do their work. So really happy with what I've seen with Crazy Mission and Bend Over. They'll get it. Just going to take some time. Don't believe me, just watch. Looked great this morning. This is a little squirt, the little tiny guy by He's Watching. Now, He's Watching was a little horse also, so I'm not really concerned with his size, but he looked great out there pacing today, moving around and sitting and accelerating. I haven't personally got a chance to go with him yet, but I know I saw him go. Ricky went with him this morning, and he looked great. Looked great out there. So very happy with Don't Believe Me, Just Watch. Effusive, probably one of our better trotters. He's a monster. He just goes and goes and goes. Never gets tired. He doesn't look like a great horse. When you watch him jog, when you pet him, when you have him out on the floor, you're like, oh my God. No. He's just a meat and potatoes horse stuffed into a classy, very talented, fast body. And he just looks like a nice horse when you're going with him. When you sit behind him, it's like, wow, this is a nice horse. When you watch him, you're like, he's okay. But he is a really nice horse. One of our better horses on the facility grounds right now is Effusive. Emerald Miss, I trained her out here the other day. Every time I watch somebody else go with her, she looks awkward a little bit. Her sister was like that. Bourbon and Barley. Do yourself a favor, if you go to our YouTube page, you can go back right to the start of the stable and watch all the videos. And this filly's sister is in there, Bourbon and Barley. She was the same way. She'd look clappy and, you know, discombobulated sometimes training. I put her in gear here the other day and trained her in 238, and she was not discombobulated the other day. She was really, really good the other day. Accelerated fast. Never really seemed to get tired. I was really woeing her up, finishing her up, and she wanted to go again. The horse went blowing by her. That was during a racehorse going a mile. She wanted to go again, and great attitude, lots of speed, and lots of talent. Does remind me of her sister every time I sit behind her. This is like the third time I've gone with her, and I thought she looks incredible every time I go with her. So Emerald Miss. And a lot of these horses, keep in mind, they're sold. I'm not pitching these to people to sell them. I'm giving you an honest, I'm optimistic, you know that, but I'm giving you an up-to-date, what I would say, an up-to-date, you know, updating you on how the horses look. And Emerald Miss, to my knowledge, has been sold out for quite a while. So, what do I get to sell? I don't own any of her. And for the people that do, nice filly. Does everything right. Reminds me of her sister. Enjoying my life. Look good today again. No issues with this filly. She's a powerhouse. She trots nice. Just went out, moved her around, moved around. It would really be a very easy day for her today because she's smart. She already knows how to sit on a helmet and accelerate and do all those things. She would be a grade 3 student in with grade 1 students today for the most part. Looked really, really good. Not surprising. Enjoying my life. Just a nice filly. Enduring strength. First time I ever sat behind that horse was today. A few little shoeing changes I think are needed. He's strong. He trots really nice, this colt. Big, powerful gait on him. He's going to be a nice horse. Might need the hobbles just because I think he's going to interfere just a hair in the straightaways. Lots of horses do, but he wants to go forward all the time. And for him to accelerate the way he wants to in that big frame of his, probably might need the hobbles, but won't be for a while. We'll be able to keep him going without hobbles for a while, but just looking at him, I know the way he wants to bounce forward. A set of hobbles might help him out, but he looked really, really good today. Excellent Nation, another horse. Everybody goes to this horse. They tell me how much they like him. Steve went with him today and told me he loved him. Danny went with him last week, told me he loved him. Before that, Jay went with him on open house day and really liked him. So, Excellent Nation, obviously a nice looking colt. I personally didn't go with him, but I saw him on the track and he looked really, really flashy. Fox Valley Shazam, Don DeVries, a kid that works for us, he went with Fox Valley Shazam. He said, geez, this is a really, really nice mare. Now, Donnie's not a driver and hasn't sat behind Mac Lobel or anything, but he goes to a lot of our horses and he really, really liked her today. Pretty hard not to like Fox Valley Shazam. She does everything right. She's strong. She accelerates well. She's intelligent and understands what she's supposed to do. Everything we need her to do right now, she's doing, and she can do it fast. So that's always a bonus. Forged in Fire, here's another horse just getting over the virus, as we had talked about before. A little bit sick, just trying to get over that last little chunk of virus, and he'll get there. Beautiful trotter. I mean, I don't have to tell you he's a beautiful trotter. He's a Yankee Glide. They all look flashy. He's a Yankee Glide out of the same mother as Emmy Lou Who. So his sister not only made $600,000 and was a stake champion here in Ontario and Canada, but was the mother of a Moticon Hanover who won the Breeders' Crown this year. So there's class all throughout that pedigree. I don't have to tell you he's a nice trotter. You're going to see for yourself, but of course he's a nice trotter. Beautiful horse. Just getting him over the virus, and then he'll be ready to go. French Twist. He's the next horse going to be gelded. French Twist. I own French Twist with one of our clients. Sent the horse here, and looked really, really good. Looked really, really good when he got here. I didn't have a chance to go with him yet, but I mean, as I said to Mr. Dyke, I mean, I think this is a really, really nice colt. He's beautiful, flashy, does everything right. But I didn't know what he was all about. I trained him out here the other day. Trained great, little cranky pulling up, switching his tail and pinning his ears, and I said, okay, no problem. We can fix that if you want. But does his work really, really well. As I said to you, I don't like training horses, babies by themselves. But once in a while to train them by themselves, you get an idea of what's going on with them, what their attitude is, what their work ethic is. And he was looking around, switching his tail. You know, you chirped to him and tapped him on the tail, and he'd switch his tail and pin his ears. You know, they'll get over that with work. But at the same time, these are indicators I'm looking for. I think we'll just go ahead and geld French Twist just to make sure. And again, he's an Angus Hall. That would have been the deciding factor for me, was that here's an Angus Hall with a questionable work ethic. Now you go out and he'll work all day long. When they start to get tired, I said this to you last year, when you see them start to get tired, then you just start to see what their real attitude is like. And when they start switching their tail and pinning their ears, sometimes it's okay and they work around it. Other times it's not. And with this guy, he's an Angus Hall. You get that attitude when he gets tired, switching his tail and pinning his ears. I think we're probably gonna castrate old French Twisty, because he's a beautiful horse with a beautiful gait. Want to make sure he stays that way. So he will be next on the chopping block, I guess, will be French Twist, which won't be a problem. He'll be a better horse for it. A lot of people that geld their horses, I always remember this. They interviewed Mark Ford one time. I said this to you 100 times. They interviewed Mark Ford one time. They said Gala Blue Chip, you know, they were retiring him. He's made all this money and won all these races and set all these world records and track records. He said, such a shame that he wasn't a stud. He said, if he was still a stud, we wouldn't be talking about him. So it was. I think it's important that we, you know, when it comes to a horse like French Twist, he could be any kind of horse. Let's not help him not be. Let's help him be a better horse. And I think by gelding him, you're going to see that attitude change immediately, as we saw it with Sunshine's Finest last year and a multitude of other horses we gelded. So White Tiger would not have been White Tiger had he not been a gelding last year. So it's important that we can do this when we need to. Anyway, I've taken up a lot of your time already. We're only a third of the way, a little more than a third of the way through the list, and we're at 30 minutes. I'm going to cut this out now, and I'm going to be back in just a few minutes to let you know about all the other ones. All right, back in just a minute. Well, I'm going to go have to get a bite to eat. It's almost 1 o'clock here on qualifying day. We got 12 to go with here this afternoon. 9 to qualify, 3 to school. Geez, it might be 13. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm going to get through the rest of these babies for you because there's a lot to talk about this weekend with the horses racing and qualifying, and I didn't want to do a video today and talk about horses qualifying that are qualifying today. I'll talk about them after they qualify and tell you what I think of them. In regards to the babies, we'll get back to the babies. Frontier Cruz, as I said to everybody, hits the ground very light for a big horse. Good looking colt. Geez, I like everything about Frontier Cruz. So he went great today. We're out in the mud. You know, this is a big, heavy horse out in that sloppy mud and lumbering through it. Just looked great. He always does his work and looks good doing it. So Frontier Cruz, straight A's for him right from day one. I had concerns about his size, but you know, he doesn't, it's hard for me to explain this to you, but he doesn't strike the ground like a heavy horse. He hits the ground very light for a big horse. So Frontier Cruz, very happy with him. A horse that, I'm going to tell you right now, there's some horses that look good, you know, Inland Beach and Miss Brampton Beast and, Jesus, I can go on and on about the pacers we have that look good. Brush Cut. It doesn't matter. We have like 8 or 10 of them. There isn't anybody on the farm can pace with Fusspot. Fusspot is small filly, really small. But man, oh man, can this thing go. I moved her today, but I always thought she was a little hot, a little ornery. She was going to give me fits, right? She was just going to be a little wiry and tough to deal with. So we went out of there. We weren't going to train a mile. We didn't train a mile today, but I trained her. You guys saw that when I trained her by herself in 241 or 242, how good she looked. Today we were just moving and just sets, just constant movement in the sets. So I thought that this type of training would give her fits and make me angry because she was going to get wound up. You'd be the type of horse, you move to the front, you grab a hold of her, she'd want to fight with you. Horse would cross down in front of her, she'd make a break. So I thought that's what I was in store for today. No. Moved her to the front, she was quiet. One dropped in front of her, another one came, another one came. We had 8 and 9 in the sets. That's how big the sets were. I get shuffled to 8th. Never tighten the line. Move her over. She starts to get her head down a little bit. She starts to pick up speed. I was 5 wide down the backstretch. It took me maybe 3 car lengths to go from 8th to 1st. And now I'm like, that was impressive, right? That was when a horse can pick up speed at this age. Lots of them think they can, but they make breaks. They'll go wide open, they'll make a break. You saw it in the training video of, I forget who it was, 2 weeks ago. That horse looked good, and then Sunshine and Shade. Their mind goes faster than their body, right? Because they're only babies. It's a yearling still. They shouldn't be able to go that fast, and nor do you want them to go that fast, but Fusspot blew right by them. Felt like a racehorse. Stopped her, let 1 go, let 2 go. Shuffled to 8th again. Moved her again, 100. Gone. Next time around, the last time around, shuffled back again. Moved her nice and slow on the outside, first over. She was very attentive, very behaved. And then I cut her loose. My God almighty, can this thing pace. This is an Art Speak filly. She was on my list to buy. I'll tell you a little story about her. She was on my list to buy. So I had a list of 40 horses we were looking at on day 2, day 3 in Lexington. I had flown back home to race the trotters, Timo Tulo and Timo Houdini, and another one in the Golds at Mohawk. I left Lexington, flew home. Amy and Steve Palermo are there. They look at the list of horses that we're going to bid on, and we had done videos on. We knew what we were doing. It was a matter of pricing. You know, who do we want the most? And we numbered them 1 to whatever, however many horses we were looking at that day. It might not have been 40, maybe it was 20, I don't know. But we had them listed. Here's the price. These are the horses I want. Now, I'm very cognitive of the sale when the horses are selling. So it's great to say, hey, I want the 3rd last horse in sale day number 2, but you can't wait for that horse because you might not get him, right? Or her. So Fusspot was somewhere in the middle. And Amy, I'm on the phone with Amy. Now, I'm racing horses in between post-braiding and racing. I'm on the phone. I got the website set up. I'm watching the sale live. I'm talking to my wife and Steve on the phone. And I can't watch Fusspot go through the ring because I'm literally going on the track to race for $80,000 or $90,000. So I can't watch her go through. So I said to Amy, I thought we could get her for 17 or 18. She was a good looking filly. Little small, but that's okay. Artspeak wasn't a big horse either. So I had her priced at $22,000. That's what I had her priced at. I come off the track. I have 4 calls. 3 from Steve, 1 from Amy. So, and Fusspot was the only horse selling at this time. Steve Palermo texts me, you got that filly. 23,000. Why would I have the filly for 23 when I said we were going to 22? So what happens is, and I always watch for this when I'm bidding. I know where my level is. I know where my ceiling is. And I want to be the guy that bids on that number, if it's getting close to that number. So if you say 18 and they're at 16, I won't bid until the last second because I'm assuming, and they're down to $1,000 increments, I'm assuming somebody's going to bid 17. I want to be the guy at 18 if I can get the horse for 18. If not, I'll get it for 17. I'm not going to let the horse leave. I'll wait, and at the last minute, I'll bid. Now you're stuck because you're under the level, you're under the ceiling. Now if somebody wants to bid again, now they bid 18, your only option is to let the horse go or overbid, go over by $1,000. So we buy the horse for $1,000 more than I thought we would. So I call Steve, and there's a lot of horses left in the sale. So there's no real reason at that point to overpay for this filly. So I'm not angry, obviously. It's $1,000 for a $23,000 horse that I really liked. I did a video of her. I really liked this filly, and I knew Amy loved her. I knew Amy loved the filly. So sure enough, 2 years ago, I went to Lexington, and Amy couldn't come. When I got home, she had bought a Great Dane. And for any of you that have visited the farm, you see that giant rhinoceros of a dog we have is Cruz. Now, I like him. He's a nice dog. He's a giant. And when I went to Lexington, Amy bought a horse. Well, I left Lexington this year, and she overpaid for a filly because she liked her. So she goes, I know Steve was there, and Steve wasn't. I knew Steve. Steve was like super disciplined at the sale. And he's like, Steve was there, and somebody else bid 22. We had her for 21, and she's trying to explain it to me. She goes, and I really liked her, so we went 23. So I know that Amy must have really pushed Steve to go 23. So anyway, that's how we ended up. Had I been in Lexington, Fusspot would not be coming home with us. But my wife loves the filly, and I'll tell you right now, I couldn't be happier with not being in Lexington and my wife overpaying for this filly by $1,000, because I don't know where she'll be in June, where she'll be in July, August, or September. I would venture a guess that she'll definitely be at the races, and I don't know what she'll do, but she is fast, really fast. And we finished up her mile, and like, we're in a set moving out there with, like, these were our best fillies today. Like Miss Bampton Beast was in there, Inland Beach was in there, Bottle of Red was in there, Brushcut the Colt was in there. Just trying to set the stage for you here. I don't know if Excellent Nation was in that one or not. Frontier Cruz was. I'll Play It Alone. We'll talk about him in a minute. This filly, she was a man, an adult amongst children today. It just seemed like she toyed with them. Whatever she wanted to do, she did, and there was nobody on the track that was going to pace with her, past her, or away from her. And it was really, really nice to see, because I really thought this filly was going to be a problem with her not her attitude, because she had the right attitude. Her work ethic was great. Her overall intelligence, she needed to be as smart as she is, or she was going to get herself in trouble where she was going to get too hot, hard to manage, and it was going to become a problem. I didn't realize she was that smart, because I haven't gone with her in 2 weeks, and the horse I went with today was not the horse I went with the other day. The other horse the other day was fast. There's no two ways about it. You could see that. This was a smart horse today. Anyway, I talked enough about Fusspot. 8 minutes of Fusspot. Anyway, next is Globetrotting. I talked about Globetrotting from the outset. You wait until the next time we do a video. Make sure you take a good look at Globetrotting. This is a filly that I love. I picked her out. She was one of my top picks overall in the sale. I really liked her from day one and was very impressed with what I saw today. And you can always tell she's very smart filly. I didn't know, we changed her shoes because I didn't know if she was going to interfere or not. And it doesn't appear as though she will after what I saw today. So, Globetrotting, I couldn't be happier with what I saw from Globetrotting today. Gold Watch. Now, I believe this is a He's Watching colt of Bob Burgess's that he set in. Well-bred, good-looking colt. But a medium-sized colt, which is good. We have another colt named Watch Av who's a giant. But He's Watching himself as a small horse. So, Gold Watch is well-bred. Looks like a nice horse. He's going to fill out to be a nice... He looks he's going to have a nice gait too. Another one of theirs that just hit the pace as soon as he went on the track. Does his work great right from day one. Really excited to see what this guy's going to turn into. We have not had the hobbles on him yet. Can't really say much about him because I haven't seen him do anything other than get a harness on and jog. A lot of work to be done with Gold Watch, but lots of time. So Gold Watch is going, not gated. Doesn't have hobbles on yet, but is gated. All he does is pace. And a nice horse. So another one of those horses you're going to pay attention to when you see him on the track probably because he looks he's going to have a nice gait. Havana Unana is a filly. I like her. She's a big, strong filly. She's not built like the other horses. She looks like more of a Clydesdale look to her, but fast. Moves quick, but got a real heavy, kind of strong, loafy gait to her. I really like the way she moves. Very unique gait. And she looked pretty good in the open house, but looked fantastic the other day. Looked great again this morning. I let her out a notch today in the mud. I wanted to see how she was in the turns. I love horses that size the turns up. Just, you see them just hesitate going into the turn and then explode forward. Those are the horses that are switching their leads to where they're comfortable. They're not going to interfere, and then they take off. And really, really happy when I see that. When I see that level of intelligence in December of their yearling year, you can only imagine, extrapolate that if you have talent, ability, all the tools in the toolbox, and the intelligence to know how you can accomplish the task in front of you as best you can. That's a good starting point, and Havana Unana has shown that from day one. Hometown Boys, you guys haven't met Hometown Boys yet. This is the full brother to Cruising in Style. Now, Cruising in Style was a New York bred by Muscle Mass. This is an Ontario bred by Muscle Mass. He's not like his brother. Cruising in Style was skinny because he'd eat everything, but he was just wired all the time. He was always hot. And he was hard to control. I think the first time we raced him with a snake cord might have been in the Meadowlands when he trotted in 52. This guy's the opposite. He's fat and lazy. We're getting the weight off him right now. Now, the problem was he was broke up at the Amish before we bought him, and they just go the same speed. They put lots of work into them, but at a snail's pace. And they got to learn speed, and this guy's learning speed now. I actually had the hobbles on him the other day. Trotted a mile in 3 minutes. He's getting there. He understands what he has to do. Now it's just a matter of doing it and doing it well. Not surprising. I'm curious to see how this guy's going to turn out because he is the polar opposite of his brother. Now, that doesn't mean talent-wise and speed-wise he'll be the polar opposite. He could be the exact same. He could be better. But the two flaws I could have with Cruising in Style, this guy doesn't have them. So, sky's the limit, I guess, is what I'm saying. For Hometown Boys, I'll play it again. Impressive looking Some Beach Somewhere colt. Man, I haven't gone with them yet, but every time I see them go with them, somebody else is going with them. Doesn't matter who goes with them, what they do with them. He just looks really talented and is a good-looking horse. So, very, very happy with what I've seen from I'll Play It Again so far. Just a really, really nice horse. So, Inland Beach, talked about Inland Beach over and over again, one of our better fillies, really fast. I trained her here yesterday, so Wednesday. I trained her here Wednesday in 2:43. She looked really, really good. We changed her shoes and put a set of flip-flops on her just because she looked like she had such a beautiful gait, but she was striking the ground kind of hard. She feels a little clunky in them, but she just has to get used to them. Trained great here yesterday. She's a filly with a low head and a long hobble, so that adjustment period might take a couple of days, but clearly was great training yesterday. I suspect she'll be fine from here on in. Jailhouse Master, this is a horse I said I like him from day one. He's got a great attitude. He made a couple of breaks at the open house. He gets a little rough and he gets brushing at himself and needed a little help. I put the hobbles on him yesterday. Trained him in 2:38 and he looked great. You just ask him and he just goes. He's just one of those horses. He seems tired. You just chirp to him, tap on the tail, and he just finds that gear again and he's gone. He's just a worker. He's an overachiever, just a beautiful horse and nice to be around. Jailhouse Master trained great here yesterday. Again, he's ready to go. Johan might be one of our better trotters. You guys haven't seen much of Johan yet, but you will. This is his Sebastian K colt. I trained him by himself yesterday. He is a flashy looking bugger. Just looks incredibly good, but a little goofy in the barn. He's laid down a couple of times. Just been rude in the barn, but on the track he's great. So just sometimes it's the opposite, right? Our job is to teach these horses how to be the best horses they can be. Sometimes they act up in the barn. Sometimes they act up on the track. This guy was a little goofy in the barn. He's better the last couple of days we went with him. That'll subside and pass. But Johan's got some grit to him on the track. He can really trot this horse. Just for me and you, just for menu, trotted poorly in the open house, a little rough, a little out of gear. I trained her here in 239 the other day. We made a little shoeing adjustment, made some little equipment adjustments to her. She looked tremendous trotting. This is a filly that's all business on the track. The next horse is all business also. Knocked down, drag out. Now I did tell Mario, she gets a little hot and a little goofy, so Mario had her at the back and had her in the middle of the track and had her on the front. I said, we're not teaching her anything to do. Like, she has to do her work the way she's asked properly. There is no doubt Knockdown Dragout is one of our best horses. She can absolutely fly, but she needs to do it right. So she was great when I trained her by herself the other day. Incredible turn of foot, speed, never gets tired, needs to have that intelligence, and we're going to have to help her with that. So I told Mario today, I said, hey, if you're going to hide her, I'm just going to go with her. If you're going to take her to the back and sit her in the middle of the track and, virtually, for lack of a better saying, kiss her arse, I said, then I'm going to go with her, because she's not going to get that opportunity. She has to be faster. You're going to the deep end of the pool. This is a Pennsylvania bred trotting filly. There's no floaters in Pennsylvania. There's no life jackets. There's no square dances. This is the big show. This is the big time. And, she has to use, not only does she have to be talented, she has to be smart. She has to be tough, because everybody we're going to race is exactly that. So she has to be faster, smarter, and tougher than them if we're going to win races. And as I said to him, I said, get her in the pack. Get her in the pack, let her see what's going on, and let her do her work. And I think she's clearly a super talented filly. She just needs to. Sometimes when you get these horses that are really talented, they don't like to listen all the time. They just think they can overpower horses. That became a problem. Who's the horse we had? Cruising in Style. Cruising in Style as a 2-year-old was very difficult to behave in a hole. He didn't pass anybody in the 2-year-old season because he never had to. He just beat up on everybody training down. Him and Lawmaker were head and shoulders, and he was the best horse training down as a baby, but he was a bully. And when he got into races where he wasn't able to be a bully because everybody could go as fast as him, it's a very tough transition for these horses sometimes. And you notice last year I had trained some of those horses down with pacers because I didn't want them having that bully mentality, because what happens to a bully usually is the same in horses as it is in humans. People usually have enough, and usually when they get a smack, they don't have a lot of fight to them. And we're not going to let that happen. We didn't let it happen last year. That's why White Tiger trained as hard as he did. And also, this filly, the same thing. I want her battle ready when she steps on the track in July of her 2-year-old year. And she's no doubt, she's super fast and super tough. Got to be super smart. So we're going to have to help her with that. Libero Hanover surprised the hell out of me. One of our clients, John, comes out and goes with some of the horses sometimes, and he went with this horse, and man, he looked good yesterday. We went a mile about 242, 243, and Libero Hanover looked great. This is the Cantab Hall colt we had. This is the guy, the first day I hooked him out there, kicked the shit out of everything. Nasty kicking, too. I thought for sure we're going to geld him, like immediately, like that day. And ever since the first day, he was a little bit better, a little bit better. Now he's just a sweetheart. He must know, he speaks good English, because he must have heard me say that I was going to geld him, because he's really come around the last few weeks, and certainly didn't look like a horse that needed to be gelded out there yesterday. Just a really nice horse to go with now. John looked great with him and really likes him. Pretty hard not to like him. Again, he's a Cantab Hall out of a pretty good family. Just a good-looking horse. Libero Hanover looked great. McPherson Thunder, a little rough around the edges. This guy can flat-out fly. Anybody that watches him knows he can. He's another one, might need to be gelded. He was quiet today, but I noticed he did make a couple of breaks. It was muddy, so you get this mud splashing up, and you get the horses. You get to see which ones are paying attention. Again, these are the days I like going because I want to see which ones get their work and which ones want to do it. The ones that are breaking and throwing themselves, they got to learn. They got to learn that it's not always going to be a sunny day when you go to the races. And McPherson Thunder made a couple of breaks today, but he's getting better every single week. Looked good today, but has looked great in the past. Marzank Hanover, this is a horse owned by Daryl Newbigging. You guys haven't got a chance to see this filly yet. She is beautiful. She is out of a sister to Mock It So, who's been a tremendous horse, well over $1 million made, probably a mark of 47, 48. Just a nice horse. And this is a foal out of a sister to Mock It So. Marzank Hanover's got a beautiful gait, really flashy looking filly, and I think you guys are going to get to see her hopefully Saturday, but if you don't, next week. She's a tremendous looking filly. Marzank Hanover is a Mach 3 filly we have here for Daryl. Master Treaty is a Vintage Master. I know Vintage Master is banned, but one of our clients bought this horse, asked us to break it and train it down. I obliged, said I would, and I'm happy to. Chad's a nice guy. She got some work to do. She definitely has some work to do, or he has some work to do, but I think the Vintage Master is gonna hold him down because he's, they're lazy. They're a lazy breed of horse. But there are some good ones, and this could be another one. This guy just needs to start to pay attention to his work. I'm sure he'll get there. He does actually have a nice gait. So Master Treaty, a good-looking horse by a banned sire, but nevertheless, he is a good-looking horse. Oh, goodness. Next is McNugget. McNugget looked great today, trained great, doing her work perfectly, exactly what I want her, exactly what I knew she'd do. She's too well-bred, nice-gated, and just a nice all-around filly to not be a nice horse, and it was just a matter of time. She had a splint bothering her. We had her crowd. She was all business today and looked great. Miss Brampton Beast, another one. Don't have to talk about her. You know what I think of Miss Brampton Beast. She can fly. Beautiful filly, beautiful attitude, beautiful gait, and looked great again this morning. Miss Mischief Maker. Keep your eye on Miss Mischief Maker. This is one of, she was a horse I wanted because she almost obliterated her groom, her caretaker, in Lexington. As I talked to you a million times, she doesn't stand the greatest, but she trots right up over her knees beautifully. This is going to be a nice filly, I think. First foal out of a sister to What the Hill, who won the Hambletonian, but then was subsequently set back for interference, but won the Hambletonian, at least for a few minutes. And this filly I really like. I like her attitude. I like how fast she is. I'm not going to talk about her. Just remember I told you to watch Miss Mischief Maker. Next time we do a video, drones from here on out. This is forever in infamy. It's on the internet here soon. Watch Miss Mischief Maker. I like this filly. Muscle Chrome looks better every week. Went with her here in 240 the other day. I thought she's getting better. Her attitude is 1,000,000% better. And she actually has some speed. She looked good. I did put the trot and hobbles on her, and she looked good the other day. Very happy with her. Her knees are a little suspect, I think, but a lot of the muscle masses are. Going to have to keep working on them, keep on top of them. But I think that will be fine as she goes along. Nancy Allison trained good here the other day, 248. She's another one we're tinkering with her shoe and trying to get her perfect, but she's good. This is a Donato Hanover filly, the sister to Charmed Life, and she looks exactly how I'd hope she would. Olympic Hopeful is shockingly just a beautiful horse. I don't mean shockingly like, oh, I thought she was no good, but when we had our OCDs out of her, I didn't see her really on the track until the open house, and I thought she looked incredible at the open house. Looked great again today. Smart, beautiful gait, just a nice all-around filly. This is a sister to the horse that Amy and I campaigned here a couple of years ago for maybe 5-6 months. His name was Guilty with an Excuse. Just a beautiful horse himself. This is the sister. Her name is Olympic Hopeful. Overdue Mission looked good today. I haven't got a chance to really tighten up her bolts and go with her yet. Mark Isabel went with her today. She looked good, did her work well, did everything right. I'm going to probably throw a good training trip into her. If we can't Saturday, then I'll probably throw a good training trip into her next week. I guess the following Saturday. We're not going on Boxing Day. Christmas we're done. Christmas we're off. Boxing Day, skeleton crew just to clean up the stalls. Thursday the horses jog. Friday we'll go Saturday. So likely the next big training trip for Overdue Mission will be on Saturday. Looks good. Path of Totality. Never got a chance to really go with this. This is a horse, a twin of Miss Mischief Maker and of For Just For You and Me. All three of these fillies are like twins. Path of Totality was a little sick. Again, took it easy on her for a week. She's about to start XSTEM, and then she'll be ready to go, hopefully. But she's a twin of Miss Mischief Maker. I hope she trots like Miss Mischief Maker. That would be great. We could have a lot of fun in Pennsylvania this summer if these fillies show up the way I hope. Pine Creek. Gonna take your time. Gonna take our time with Pine Creek. No real updates to give you. She's still very timid. Probably next week we'll start putting that equipment on her. Maybe start putting a set of hobbles on her. And then I think you'll start to see her trot. She's very shy, but at the same time, she's now learning to go on the track good. She looks great when she's on the track. Really, really excited to see how this filly's gonna turn out. But as I said, take your time. Don't get upset when your horse isn't the best looking horse of the lot yet. 7 months before they have to qualify. Well, yeah, 7 months before they qualify. Almost 8 months for the Ontario horses. 7 and a bit for Ontario, but this filly will be qualified in 7 months, I'm sure. And she has lots and lots of time. Don't get upset with Pine Creek. This filly will be just fine, I'm sure. Really Blue Chip, as all of you know, I announced it before the open house that I thought this was one of the best horses we have. I still do. This is a big, strong filly. She's just going to get stronger and bigger and more powerful. She's got the right attitude, the right work ethic. She has everything going for her. She is a very nice horse because she doesn't do anything wrong. And I expect that Really Blue Chip will be maybe our first real good New York. No, Cruising in Style was New York. Our first good New York trotting filly. How's that? Really Blue Chip. Rocking Out Loud. She gets better every week. A little bit better, a little bit better. She looked awesome. Her and McNugget slugged it out for about a quarter of a mile, finishing up their mile today. Both of them look good. Rocking Out Loud looked really good. Mario was very happy when he came in. Rooney Blue Chip. I trained Really Blue Chip in 244 the other day. Looks good. He's always a little back on his knees and a big heavy colt, so I'm very cognizant of that. We take our time. He looked good trotting, and if he can progress from this point on, he's going to be a nice horse. With all that money put into the Meadowlands and into the New Jersey Sire Stakes, I assume some of it went into the New Jersey Sire Stakes. It's going to be a good summer for New Jersey. We have a horse we're going to talk about in a bit, Spirit of Dio and Rooney Blue Chip. Both look good. Both Trixtons. Both horses I think very highly of. I'll be right back in a minute. I'm going to run through the last little bit of horses with you. Jesus, this is going to end up being a long video. My apologies. I'm a bit of a windbag. But I wanted to give you a real good updated version of what I think of these horses because we did just train them this week. Be right back in a minute. So I was just talking, if you look in my rearview mirror, you can see Kelly Spencer walking away. She was here shooting the last few horses today and going over some stuff we're trying to do for Christmas and New Year's. We didn't forget about you. We're trying to do a little something for Christmas and a little something cooler for New Year's for you. I'm not telling you, so don't ask. We got a few horses left. Rose Run Valiant. Rose Run Valiant's a powerhouse. He hasn't looked flashy because I really haven't pushed Rose Run Valiant. All his brothers wore hobbles. He doesn't have them on right now. He's trotting good, but I think if we get the hobbles on him, change his shoes, change his gear, and really turn it up, he'll explode forward, but there's no rush for that. 7 months before we got to qualify him. He's doing his work adequately now. I would say at some point between now and March, we'll probably put some pants on him, put some hobbles on him, and really cut him loose. But Rose Run Valiant's doing everything I could possibly ask him to do right now. So really happy with what I've seen from Rose Run Valiant. Rose Run Versatile. I can't wait to get this filly on the track. You guys have no idea who she is. Rose Run Versatile is a filly that my wife fell in love with in 2 seconds. Obviously every year, I've told you guys this, so every year for the last 3 years, we'd look for a muscle massive lawmaker, obviously. White Tiger last year. I looked at every gelding, every colt or gelding in public auction that was a muscle massive, and I didn't like any of them. Maybe one, and he went for too much money, but I didn't like any of them for the most part. Then I met up with Archie from Rose Run Farms. He said, hey, I bought this filly back. You can buy her. You owe me this money if you want her. And I said, okay, I can't give it to you right now. I'll give it to you whenever. He said, no problem. So we took her home. Then we found out she had OCDs in her hocks. We paid to take those out. She looks great. She's ready to start back jogging. My Christmas present is going to be jog her on the 28th. she's just such a beautiful filly. I hope she looks as good. We did jog her for a week before we found the chips. So the reason we found the chips, she was over on a shaft a little bit. I said, hey, there's something with that right hind. She doesn't hurt herself in any way. There's no way that she should be over on that shaft. Took her over. Sure enough, she'd OCDs in her hock. So, but when she was trotting, she looked great. So I'm really excited to go with Rose Run Versatile on December 28th. Is her first day back. Sebastian Ray, total transformation from this guy. He went from really ignorant, making breaks and not trotting, to being, he still pins his ears sometimes, but he's not of the pin your ears and pull up or be ignorant. He's like, pin your ears, I'd stab you over an alley, but I'm happy to fight. That's the difference. It's a thin line between I'm sour and I don't want to do my work to I'm sour, I'd spit in your face if I saw you right now. That type of sour, that's okay. That one's okay. And that's the Sebastian Ray. He can go fast. You chirp to him, he'll go really fast, but he pins his ears on his neck, and he's a cranky little bugger, but he can really trot. He looked great today. Ricky went with him. We switched him from the belly band hobbles. So any of you, there's lots of horsemen out there. The trotting hobbles, there's many different kinds. The two most general kinds are the back to the bike hobbles. They attach to the jog cart or the race bike. And the belly band hobbles, they have a bar that actually is built into a belly band, and they're no good. I don't like them that much. They're great for horses that don't need hobbles. They're great for horses that don't need hobbles is the way I see it. Some of our horses, like Happy Holidays, wears those. Gelona wears those. Both those horses could school easily without hobbles. So these are just a minor help. We had those on Sebastian Ray. He wasn't as good. As soon as we put the back to the bike ones on him, immediately different horse. Accelerate where you want him to, not make breaks, not put steps in. Just looks great. Really good looking horse. So Sebastian Ray, happy with him. Sebastian Yu wears the same hobbles, back to the bike hobbles. He brushed his knees a little bit and was making breaks, but you see him today. He's got his head. My only concern is he gets his head down and he's really bully. All these Sebastian K's like their heads low, which is fine. But it's harder to control them. And when they start to pull in their heads low and you grab a hold of them, they can shut their air off. So you got to be careful not to have them too hot, because it's nice to have them down where their heads are comfortable, but they're more apt to actually shut their air off. You have to pull on them. This guy can be a little bit bossy sometimes, but he's actually a really nice horse on the track, and beautiful horse, nice gait. I really like Sebastian Yu. I can see where there's some flaws that we got to work on, but when they go out there, do the work and trot, and actually want to beat up on horses, that's the number one thing you can't teach them, is the desire to want to compete. This guy has that, and I really like that about him. I like that about all the Sebastian K's we have. Sometimes things happen. This is a guy with the long pasterns behind. Little rolly, little rough. Mario went with him today. Did everything right. We just had a ragtag bunch at the end. Some trotters and pacers put together that were around the same grouping. I'm probably going to train Sometimes Things Happen at about 2:40 next week. I would say a week from Saturday then. Again, I keep saying we likely aren't going to drone on Saturday because we likely aren't. But if we do, he will go Saturday. But he wants to do his work. I love this horse's attitude. From day one, I've liked it, and I still like it. So Sometimes Things Happen. Look good again today. Spend that money. I trained her in 239 yesterday. A little more weight needed up front. She doesn't focus. She needs to be in a group setting. Trained her by herself, wander and wander and wander. Still won a mile in 239, but she would have done it a lot easier had I been able to just not pick at her and chase her and sit the bit in her mouth and let her trot forward. It would have been a lot better for her, but she just needs to learn. A little mentally immature still, but very fast filly in Spend That Money. Spirit of Dio, she looked great also training this week. Very happy with what I've seen from Spirit of Dio. Another one very similar to Spend That Money, just needs a little help, needs to pay attention and focus a little bit more, but can trot really, really nice. So both of these horses, I haven't got a chance to really push them that hard yet. We will in the near future. We will in the near future. Kelly Spencer hates when you beep at her. We will in the near future, but Spend That Money and Spirit of Dio, both doing their work very, very well. What's that?
Are you recording?
Yes. What?
Still recording and you're talking to me?
Yes, that's how I roll.
Well, then Curtis gets to edit all that.
No, I'm going to leave this right in there. This portion. Can't say anything mean. Anyway, Spirited Deal, spend that money. Both look good. Sunshine and Shade, just a beautiful horse on the track. We went out there with him today and just let him saunter along. He picks up speed so fast and he wants to do it. This year's Sunshine Beaches look different from last year's. Sunshine's Finest desperately needed castration at Christmas time just to be the horse we hoped he'd be, and then he did turn into that horse. And then Sunshine Inn was a little cranky also. All these Sunshine Beaches this year got great attitudes. Frontier Cruz, beautiful horse. Sunshine and Shade, beautiful horse. They want to do it. Just love to do their work. So I'm very, very happy with what I've seen from Sunshine and Shade today. Just went out and played around today. I trained him in 241 or something. There's no issue with speed with this guy. He's got lots. Susie K went out and trained today. Looked good. This is the Climb Higher Ohio bred filly. She's going to take some time. She's not small. She's about a medium-sized filly, but going to take some polishing. Comes close to her knees and makes the odd break here and there. But nothing wrong with that. You know, I don't have any problem telling you guys, oh, this one makes breaks, so that one might brush a knee. Lots of these horses are going to come through these same hurdles. They have to pass them at different times. And Susie K loves her work, though. That's the biggest thing. That's why I don't get concerned. Show me a horse that wants to work. I'll show you a horse that we can work with. So Susie K, just a nice filly. Horse that's got a horrible attitude is Talking Peter. My God, he's a bad little bastard. But he's fast. He's got a nice gait. He was acting, pulling up, looking at the gates. He didn't do that the last 2 times we went with him. So maybe there's lots of progression there also. I don't like when horses do that. See the gate and pull up and slow down. I hate that. And this guy was doing it. He's better now. Better now, was good today. James went with him at the open house, said he was good at the open house. Really happy with what I saw today from Talking Peter. So we'll call this ground zero, day 1 of a new and improved Talking Peter. Talking Peter 2.0 looked great today. 2 of a kind Hanover. Another lazy little bugger, but looked good training today. I think this filly, you're going to see her start coming forward in the winter. A little fat, actually. She loses a little bit of weight, starts getting a little more aggressive, mover. I think she'll come around. I went with her in 240 the other day, 239, but really had to work on her to get her there. Not sour, just a little lazy, and I think that's not a bad thing. It'll come. Horse that we just got also, Trafalgar. Which one's Trafalgar? I think Trafalgar's the Dally. We have a Dally filly here. She's a beautiful filly. I saw her on the track. I'm a little embarrassed. I don't know what type of mare she's out of. This is the last 3 that came in. I mean, I've seen her pedigree. She's got... Oh, I know. This is the sister to Buckingham. This is the Dally sister to Buckingham. I didn't tell you we had her. Looks good on the track. It's going to be about 2 weeks before you really get a good chance to have a look at what she looks like. We just broke her and have the hobbles on her now. She's not going in sets or even with the... sorry, we don't have the hobbles on her yet. She's not going in sets or anything like that. She literally just got broke. So Trafalgar, this is the sister to Buckingham by Dally. So if you're out there and you own Buckingham and you like Buckingham even remotely as much as I did last year, keep an eye on Trafalgar. This is her sister. Time Will Dazzle, I don't tell you about that. I had so many people mad. The doctor that owns her, you know, put her in the sale, bought her back, sent her to us, offered up shares. People out there complained because he wanted too much money for her. She went under the drone 2 weeks ago, right before the open house. He called me up and he said, take all the 99 shares. And he scooped them all back up. Said he doesn't want to sell her anymore. Now, he tried to buy the 1 per share, Mary. Mary said, nay. Mary was not going to sell her share. I don't think he's that concerned with it. Mary Lise is one of our clients. She's always here with her husband. They're always having a good time and watching the horses. And she was the only one of you that got in on Time Will Dazzle. She is a good-looking filly, and she does look really good on the track. I don't blame the vet for buying the shares back, or not buying them back, for just taking them back. I'm happy. We're happy to still be training her and have her, and he's happy to own her. I know Mary's happy also. So Time Will Dazzle is not for sale to any of you any longer, at least right now, and I can't blame him. So very happy to have her, and you know, thank you to Time All Farms for sending the filly here. Time All Kazam, he didn't send her here. He send him here. We bought him. We bought Time All Kazam. This is a full brother to Time All Houdini, a horse that we had I thought very highly of last year. Maybe got a little tired at the end of the year, so we're going to change the way we train these horses. Time All Dazzle, I saw him on the track. He's big. He's obese. he needs to lose about 150 pounds. And when we get that weight off of him, we'll be in a much better place to start training him hard. Did not train this guy yet. He's a big colt. Not in any hurry. Probably not going to train him till the new year. So time all, Kazam. Good looking colt. He's done everything right. Looked good today in the set. We didn't train today, just movement. I guess you could say he could easily go a mile and 250 right now, but we haven't put a clock on him. Haven't put a watch on him. Don't know how fast we've gone, but he's big. Just needs a little more time. But he's doing his work right. There's no issue with him. I just don't want to start pushing and pushing and pushing and hurting him. So we're going to get some of that weight off of him first before we start training him hard. Yours, if you want to, got the weight off him. I trained him the other day in 242. He's probably better with company. He was a little awkward feeling going by himself, but strong and fast colt. Never looked to get out of his work. Just really was unsure of himself on the track, training by himself. Just a little mentally immature. Got to get him in a group setting, but obviously the speed was there. No problems there. Horse that really shocked me today was a horse by the name of Utopian. This is a big gym colt that was sent to us by the breeder, and he looks great. He's paced ever since he went on the track. First day on the track, all he does is pace. Put the hobbles on him, no problem whatsoever. I think I figured out how to drink water yet. He looks great on the track, Utopian. So very happy with what I've seen from him. Keep an eye on these horses. You're going to like the pedigrees you see on this colt, the other three that he dropped off, and the other colt also we're going to talk about in a minute. But Utopian looked great today, and I would suspect is going to be one of those flashy horses that turns some heads over the next couple of months. Watch Av. Watch Av. What did I say about him? This colt made a couple of breaks, looked very immature, very mentally and physically immature on the track at the open house. We changed his gear, changed his shoes. He's healthy now. I trained him the other day in 239, and he looked incredible. This is a colt that I like. He's a giant. I suspect his shares will sell very, very fast after his first two drone sessions. Both the He's Watching colts will. Well, we have three. One might not, but two definitely will, and one of them is Watch Av. Watch List. This is the other He's Watching. This guy's a little small, a little crooked, loves his work, got a great attitude. He's one of them horses that's simply going to have to sell himself. His breeding's okay, but he's not put together the greatest. I told the breeder, it looks like my daughter drew him on a piece of paper, but he is a fantastic. If we could put his attitude in any number of these horses, we would have a very strong barn this year for sure. This is he's Rudy. He's a Rudy is what he is. He's an overachiever, and if he can get there, he will, because he's got the right attitude to do it. So Watch List. If you're out there and you're saying, hey, I don't mind taking a shot in a very inexpensive He's Watching colt, well-bred colt, I don't mind that. This is your guy then, because he's going to remain inexpensive and affordable, and he's got a great attitude. Can't fault him on his attitude, that's for sure. He did look actually pretty flashy at open house day. I think Colin went with him, if I'm not mistaken. He looked really, really flashy that day. Next we have Wiggle Delight. Wiggle Delight looked incredible. Wiggle Delight looked incredible. I'm just looking for this horse. We're missing a horse. Wiggle Delight. Wiggle Delight looked incredible at the open house. She looks incredible every week. She's well bred. This is a filly we paid a lot of money for. She's meant to be a good horse. She's a sister to Mr. Wiggles, who's the sire of Wiggle It Jiggle It. Mr. Wiggles is no slob himself. Made over $1 million. Took a really, really good mark. This is a good family. This is a good filly. She does everything exactly the way that we expect her to. I'll put this horse in right now. Next is Willpower Fashion, my boy Will. He's a little fat, Will, also. Gonna have to get the weight off him. I trained him the other day in 244. He's just a total professional. Just a beautiful horse. You know what? When I talked him up at the sale, and I talked him up at the sale, and I talked him up in the sale in all the videos, you couldn't ask him to look more like what he looks like right now. I don't mean physically, because he is a little fat, but on the track, he's got this presence about him. Just a nice horse, does his work well, and loves to do it well. So Willpower Fashion, sold out, should be sold out, and just a really, really nice horse. Zeb Sunshine. Now, I have to be honest, I'm under a little stress sometimes, and less about the barn and more about what's going on with everything else. But I had somebody email me the other day, and they were a little upset because Zeb Sunshine had pretty significant hobble burns, one at the open house, and this person was concerned that maybe the hobble shouldn't have been on the horse, maybe you shouldn't be training, maybe you shouldn't be doing a lot of things. To be very clear, we train the horses, and I've done this for a very long time. Before I did this, I worked for people that did this for a long time, and the gentleman that's in charge of Zeb Sunshine, Mario Bergeron, yeah, he's just a fourth generation horseman. And for those of you out there saying, yeah, well, he's a driver, not a trainer, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Mario Bergeron is an incredible horseman, understands how horses are supposed to look. Most things you don't know, but most big drivers, at least, especially from his age group, were incredible horsemen before they were incredible drivers. As I said last week, most people don't know this, but my brother Mark, incredible trainer in his own right before he ever was the driver that he was, which is, I'm a little biased, he's my brother, but, 6,000-7,000 races, won every big race that there is to win, except the Hamiltonian, I guess. North American Cup, Meadowlands Pace, I believe he won both of those, the Little Brown Jug. Anyway, doesn't matter. Zeb's Sunshine, yes, he had some hobble burns, and yes, they looked a little unsightly. I had made reference to them in the video on open house day, but those are hobble burns that heal in like 48 hours. They're smooth, their skin's there, the hair's starting to grow back off them after a while, and there's a million reasons why they can burn. Some horses don't gait up quickly, and because they have plastic straps on their legs, hobbles, if they're not gaited, if they can't get their gait quickly, those start to burn a little bit. And it's a little frustrating sometimes. I'm sure it's frustrating for the horses. It's frustrating for me, the trainer, and the grooms to keep them cleaned up. But they're cleaned up now. The horse is pacing great and looks great. And these are the same types of things that went on last year. Sunshine's Finest, he was quite burnt in his hobbles. Why does my phone do that? There. He was quite burnt in his hobbles before he started going. And then you have a horse like See You in Tuscany. He was burnt right through March. And not like burnt, but less than you don't want to see the horses burning in their hobbles, but it happens. Anyway, Zeb Sunshine's fine now. He looks great now. He was in the set today. Looked good in the sets today. He's getting it. He's understanding it. This is a horse, in the same family as Big Time Ball and In Vitro. I mean, tons of talent just coursing through that horse's, veins. And we'll get him there. But this is the task, and this is the way that we do it. This is our model, the way that we train our horses down, and the way it's been done for a very long time. There's nothing new and exciting that the stable does. We just do it so everybody can see it. So although you may have seen hobble burns on Zeb Sunshine the other day, there's hobble burns on lots of horses. People just don't get to see them all the time, and it's frustrating, but it's just part of life. It's part of the way it is. Sometimes you get sore feet when you put on new shoes, and sometimes your gear burns when you get it when you play hockey or baseball. But you work through it, and this is part of becoming an athlete. Is finding the right kind of hobbles, the right size of hobbles, and finding your gait. And until those things mesh together, you're going to have a few little hobble burns. You're going to have nicks and bruises and cuts and scrapes and bangs, and it's all part of being a kid and growing up, isn't it? So Zeb Sunshine looked great today. And very happy. What I saw last week was a horse that did his work, even though he had those significant hobble burns. You can't teach a horse to want to work the way that horse did last week, and those are the things that we want to see. These are the things that I always want to see: is how bad do they want to do it, how hard do they want to work, and clearly Zeb Sunshine answered that question at the open house. For the gentleman that emailed me, obviously, I believe hope the email didn't come off too abrupt, but at the same time, I suspect that most of the people in the stable trust what we're doing, and I know you have questions, and there's certainly no wrong way to ask them or no wrong question to ask, and I hope you guys know that we are here to answer all your questions, both me and our staff. Whenever you need to know them, you can reach out to me via email or Facebook Messenger or Twitter or text messages. You can get a hold of me however you want. We're happy to answer all your questions about the horses. So, that is it. That's all of them. That is Ale Sund all the way through to Zeb Sunshine, except I made a mistake. I forgot Film Fanatic. Film Fanatic is owned by David Shea and his father. Looks great. This colt had a little temperature heading into this week, so he was not trained this week, and he was not in the set today. But he'll be full speed ahead after today. He's a good-looking colt. You know, they paid pretty good money for this horse, as they should have. He's out of a sister to All Bets Off, and All Bets Off is now, I think they're going to stand him stud again, maybe in New York that next year. I'm not positive. But obviously, multi-million-dollar winner, multi-Grand Circuit race winner. He's got a mark of 47, 48 or something. Just a really good horse. So, Film Fanatic, who is David Shea's horse, and I think David is, they race under the moniker of Giddy Up Stable, so his name will be Giddy Up Max, I believe. So Film Fanatic someday will be Giddy Up Max, and Giddy Up Max, he's training great. So my apologies to David for not having him on my list. I don't know why he was. I knew I was missing a horse, and now I found him. So, Film Fanatic, Giddy Up Max, didn't go today, but will go Saturday if we go Saturday, and if we don't go Saturday, I will train him next Saturday. So thank you, everybody. Got a little note, a little video coming out for you on Christmas, and got a real cool video coming out for you. I shouldn't have said that. Got a real cool video coming out for you on New Year's Eve. So that's it. I apologize. I thought I could run through these quickly as I have in the past, but I did want to give you an in-depth look at what I saw this week with your horses, our horses. I want to let you know what I thought of them, the good things I saw in them, some of the bad things I saw in them also, but give you a real look at what we see every day here at TheStable.ca. So it's an hour-long video for you, but nevertheless, hopefully you understand, for you to watch an hour of video means I was shooting it for an hour and 25 minutes. You didn't even get to hear about the racehorses. They're all qualifying this afternoon. We'll have 12, I think. No, 9 are qualifying, 3 are schooling, 1 or 2 more on Saturday at Flamborough. We're going to have upwards of 30 horses racing full-time in the new year for you. So, be talking to you soon. Hopefully we can get the drone in Saturday. If we can't, we can't. If we can, we'll be happy to have the drone here on Saturday morning. Talk to you soon. Merry Christmas, everybody.